Hey, thanks for tuning into this week's episode. Would you make sure to please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel here? And please share this episode with somebody whose life it will make better. Alex Wells, welcome.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Man, our stories crossed in kind of an interesting way. I thought I knew the initial story.
Yeah.
But then you told me the story behind the story.
Yeah.
So you walked into Northern Colorado Jiu-Jitsu and self-defense right when we opened. We were over here at the outlet malls.
Yep.
Came in for a class. We grappled a little. I think you and I did our first class. And then you started training.
Yeah.
But there's a story behind that story.
Yeah, there is for sure. So I'll even go a little further back. Why I was interested in doing jiu-jitsu is when I was a kid, I did karate, Kempo karate. And I did that from 6 to 12. And I actually was able to get my black belt in Kempo. And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I stopped because I turned into a teenager and started chasing girls and playing a lot of sports. So as I got older, I wanted to get back into something like that. And jiu-jitsu spoke to me because it's less combat. I feel like you can get into a confrontation or a situation and avoid a lot of hitting, right? Because in my younger life, I got in a lot of fights and that didn't go very well. So I wanted to find out, how do I get out of a situation more?
Didn't go well for you or for the other person or both?
For both. Yeah.
Because there was hitting involved.
Yes, exactly. Because I feel like that's a little bit inevitable, right? When that's your go-to. And so jiu-jitsu spoke to me. I wanted to do it. And I tried to go to a few jiu-jitsu classes and would go all the way up until driving and parking. And I'd sit there and try to get myself ready to go. And twice I left before going in. And that was, I can't remember what the place was, but it was a Gracie jiu-jitsu studio. It used to be over by the King Supers off at 29th.
Yeah, there was one over there.
Yeah. I tried that a couple times, and then I saw that No Code Jiu-Jitsu opened up. I was like, oh, this is perfect. Brand new place, right? There's probably not going to be as many people. Let's see if maybe I can get in. It was right by my house at the time. So I went to go check it out, and there wasn't a lot of people or anything like that. I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I want. So I decided to try it out, and that was how we met.
So you didn't sit in our parking lot.
Nope.
You sat in the other parking lot, the other place.
Yep.
And what was that experience like for you? Was it what you thought it would be?
Yeah, it was. It was great. It was a perfect scenario, really, because I didn't want to go into like a big class and immediately just get thrown to the wolves. And I'd heard stories about people's different experiences that they had with that, and I wasn't feeling it that way. So to be able to go to a place freshly open, not a lot of people, it just felt right.
Yeah, and I remember that. And then you kept coming back, and then you didn't realize that you had also engaged with another one of our businesses.
Yeah.
And that actually owned it.
Yep.
So we end up just connecting a lot of dots, right? So we'd end up painting for you. You met with one of our reps, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute.
Yep.
Jiu-jitsu and martial arts, and wait, you're a business. Oh, wait, you worked, and all of these things started coming together. And like, here we are, 3 years later?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
4.5. NOCO's 4.5 years old.
Yeah. So that would have been 2019.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when I first tried it out.
So what do you got going on like right now? So your morning, you just told me before, I'm on my 3rd cup of Spanish coffee. You're on your 8th cup of
black coffee.
Crap coffee. We got to get you some of this. We both drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
It's 10 a.m. on the clock. But what do you got going on right now? What's life look like? Family look like? Business look like? And why are you here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am married, almost 4 years, and just absolutely so fortunate to have met my wife. We met at work, actually, at a swing dancing event. There was a group of people that try to get people at our the company we were working for together to go swing dancing. And I was single at the time, probably 3 months. Was like, yeah, I'll go check it out. Well, when we were swing dancing, we ended up dancing together. And as we were dancing together, we're like, hey, kind of feel like something might be going on. What about you? And we just hit it off. And we're both very career focused and goal focused. We were in our mid to late 20s, and we were both looking for something serious. And so it just lined up really well. So we dated for 3 years, ended up getting married. We were pregnant on the honeymoon baby, and had our first baby girl who was about 3 years old in 2020, pandemic baby. And also at the time, our whole state was on fire, so we have our baby. We look out the window at the hospital. It looks like doomsday outside. But yeah, she's going to be 3 this year. Huge personality, amazing little girl. She's the light of my life. I love her so much. And then we have a son who is going to be 1 this year. And that's our family life. We really are very focused on marriage, our kids, and trying to make the best environment future possible for them. So that's my biggest priority, is that. And then I am the co-founder and CEO of Imprint Digital. That's what I do as my job right now. And we are almost 2 years in business. We've been very fortunate for what we've been able to do in 2 years. I'm very excited with the team that we built, how we're doing digital marketing, and also the direction that we're going. We're really trying to future-proof the business, future-proof as much as possible, because the industry has evolved and changed so much.
So as you're sharing all this, I'm doing the mental math. So within 6.5 to 7 years, you're just working, killing it, chasing girls, meet the girl of your dreams, get married, fall in love, get married, 2 kids, COVID, pandemic, state's on fire.
Yeah.
I beat you up on the jiu-jitsu mats a little bit. Right? We start our friendship. You launch this business. And then we start working together. So full transparency, you do all of the websites for all of the companies here that Sevilla Holdings owns. Joey over here. Joey's over with Emily right now. Showing her how to run the switches, because he's gonna come over here next. And we're gonna hang out. And I've been with you since roughly the beginning of the journey.
I think you started with us within the first 6 months we were in business. So,
and you faced some challenges like any business owner did and does, and then had some other unique challenges, put in front of you because of that. And it was really cool, because the whole time, like, if I would have had those challenges that you faced, I don't know that I could have kept the composure that you did to do business with somebody like me, or with anybody. So I thought that was really cool.
Thank you.
And then so when you say, future proof, and you talk about the industry, because you had a little bit of a background in this, right? And you knew what you were doing. You were doing really well in this industry. And then you start Imprint. So what are some of the unique things? How do you future proof? How do you look ahead? Because I don't see too many people, like I see business people, where they're good at executing whatever the business is, or they're good at the craft, they become business owners, but I don't see too many that can look too far ahead. Like real far ahead to see what's coming. I was told in 2015 during a strategic op planning session, I said, we need to buy some drones to start doing roof inspections and home inspections, right? With a drone, or maybe some real estate videos. And I got laughed out of the room by my own team and the facilitator in 2015. And here we are, like we couldn't even look that far ahead. So what are you doing? How are you looking far ahead in the industry? Where's this industry going? Where are people getting it wrong? Where's the wave passing a lot of people that they don't even see right now?
It's been an evolution. The way I look at it, because I was very fortunate to come up the way that I did, where I've been doing marketing in some capacity now for about 13 years. And my first experience was trying to help print go digital. Right. So that was when the industry really popped off, is like launch of the iPhone, right? 2007. And what that did to print media, and the huge explosion of social media and everything that's happened with that. So I got to witness that evolution and what that did. And then what really started to happen is there kept being more digital marketing specifics involved in marketing and business, right? It kind of was like Google Ads. Great. Everybody, if you were an early adopter on Google Ads, you were ahead of the curve.
You got paid. And then everybody and their grandma in 2005 had reached out to me. oh, just do a CPC, do a click, boom, get you on the first page. And it's like, it was like magic.
Yep.
Right. When we were in the phone book.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember that. I remember the guy that reached out to me and I go, what is he talking about? What is this? Oh, okay. But then that went away. Like, it seems like there's this new magic, then everybody and their grandma's doing it, and then it's gone. And that cycle happens faster.
Yes.
Every cycle.
It does. It's, I mean, technology has evolved at just such a fast rate. And so it really started with Google Ads. And then, that came with SEO, obviously getting people proper websites. And then social media it evolved from more of a personal tool to a business tool. Email marketing has always been there, but it has also evolved a lot. And, the pace in which everything's happened. I think that if you started a digital marketing company in 2009, for example, you could really niche yourself in and do really well by just doing one thing. And then people started to add in all of these different layers of what they're servicing. And what happened in the industry is, a lot of people don't know this, but digital marketing is probably one of the most disrespected and hardest industries to be in. And the reason for that, a lot of the time, is people don't understand it. They think, okay, I'm on my phone all the time. I'm on the internet all the time. People are just over pushing buttons and creating all this stuff. But the logistics that go into executing that are a lot. And you need a lot of people to do it. And so in order to grow, your headcount grows with it. And the margins are tough. And so what we've really seen is we've seen businesses be able to make a lot of money in doing digital marketing and then plateau from a profitability standpoint. And what I think is happening right now between businesses trying to adapt to that. So like, if you're not profitable as a business, you have to try to put in processes and structure in order to improve your efficiency, improve the amount of work that you can do with the amount of people you're using to try to improve your margins. And so we went from, you could just get into it doing Google Ads, to how do we structure the business in order to be profitable, to now the industry is evolving in a whole different kind of way, because when businesses tried to structure themselves to be more profitable, it ended up getting very cookie cutter. And it was like a one size fits all. You come in the door, we're going to create a conveyor belt, we're going to crank out your work. And that experience, I think, for business owners is really hard. You feel very out of the loop. You feel like you're just another client, that you're not important. And I think that that's really tough for digital marketing companies to be able to retain clients that way, right? So future proofing for us, what we've seen, I was really fortunate to be able to get hired on at a bigger company as a fractional CMO. And what I recognized, my partner and I both had this opportunity around the same time, is these companies were hiring us and they were like, okay, well, you got it, right? You're going to be able to do everything, just one person. But when we would come in, we would have to be like, well, you need to hire designers, developers, social media managers. You have to hire all these people. And they're like, well, wait a minute, and it would create a lot of friction. And so what we're really trying to do is we're trying to plug that hole. We're trying to take what we've seen in the industry, come in at more of a in-depth level on the business, and then also be able to help you save on costs by having a team of experienced people that you can really rely on to execute all of these different things. And then there's one other factor right now, AI. What I feel like AI is going to do is it's going to allow you to execute services more efficiently. And I joke about this all the time, but I think that digital marketing companies have been feeding businesses for a really, really long time. They are making a lot of sacrifices to help businesses, and a lot of the time they are suffering from a profitability standpoint because of it. With AI being introduced, I feel like it's finally time for digital marketing companies to be able to eat. A lot of business owners probably don't realize that there are these struggles in digital marketing, because digital marketing companies are oftentimes good at marketing themselves. And so everything looks great, right? Oh, they must be doing really well. Everybody's happy. This is great.
Lots of optics.
Optics, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And now I think that this evolution really puts digital marketing companies in a position to where they should be able to execute more efficiently and run what you would want to be able to do from a profitability standpoint better. So it's time to eat. We've been feeding people for a long time. It's time to eat.
So in the experience, I mean, do you see that? Because obviously you look at a solopreneur. Right? Hey, I'm a digital marketing expert in whatever. Maybe they say it's everything. Maybe they say it's a niche thing, but it's just them trading their time for money. Maybe they outsource. Do you see that at different levels of revenue or levels of employee standpoint in the industry, or is it just the industry as a whole? Just as it starts to scale up, the complexity is either understood and they just don't realize the dollars and cents to it, or they just don't realize both.
Yeah.
And then they're looking at their P&L like they got a nice office, some bouncy balls, great paint, fun culture, which you better if you're a digital marketing company. You better have a good website. You better look good, right? There should at least be that.
Yep.
But there's just no money at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Do you feel like it's certain levels, or is it just across the industry?
I think it's across the industry.
What would you tell a digital marketer that's starting up?
Yeah.
It's like, don't get in the industry, or get into the industry and make sure you do these things at any level.
Yeah, I think that if you're going to get into digital marketing, you have to think like I am right now and look ahead. Because if you're working in that industry, you're working with technology, and technology evolves extremely quick. So if you're not thinking 3, 5, 10 years down the line right now, you're going to lose.
Do you think the cookie cutter model, right? Because my experience, and then I had a buddy. He just started a business. He's back on the East Coast, and he gets with this very cookie cutter kind of business. He's a sales guy at heart. He has no experience with internet, anything. Like, he just launched a Facebook. So he's in kindergarten, right? And he calls this company back there, and they start working with him, and they took him from like kindergarten to first grade. And he's like, I have a website. Well, cool. And how does that work? Well, he doesn't own the domain. Company does. You pay for it flat. No, I'm paying him monthly. Well, what happens if you don't pay him monthly, right? So, okay. So they took him from like kindergarten to first grade. And then, I'm on the first page. Well, I fell off the first page, and I'm helping coach him in some other regards. And he's like, they just want more money. They want more money. They want more money. So we start digging in, and they're taking money on the back end. They're doing all these things. So it's kind of the thing that you're talking about. He's just, there's no uniqueness to this website. This is a template. This looks like, well, are they working with this company too? He goes, they are. And they're working with his competitor right down the street. Same template, same thing. And I had a little bit of that experience first getting into M&E back in like 05, 06. They dropped a template. And you think that's just dead? You think businesses like that are just going to die?
I do. 100%.
Are they dying already, and these business owners of these just don't know?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I think another key component to this is having experienced those kinds of scenarios too, and not doing it. Don't repeat mistakes, right? We just helped a client of ours migrate their website, and we're working on kind of redesigning it for them to improve their customer experience. And the previous company he was working with reaches out to us, and he's like, what do you want to do with the domain? I'm like, what do you mean? What do I want to do with the domain? He's like, well, I currently own the domain. I was like, why do you own the domain? I was like, we don't do that. I don't want to own a business's domain. For one, I got to pay for it, right? And I don't need to charge businesses to host their domain. That's kind of silly. We want businesses to own all their stuff, right? There is a comfort in that, but I think a lot of business owners probably don't realize some of that stuff.
But you don't own your name.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
Yeah, you got to own your name. You got to own your Facebook pages. You got to own all this stuff. If people are setting all that stuff up for you, then they should be doing it through your accounts, right? Because what happens if you have a really rough experience and there's a lot of conflict in working with that company, and you're trying to offboard? It's like
they got your domain.
They have everything. Yeah, it's not good. You have to be careful for that, and you got to be careful about proprietary tools. When people are using proprietary tools, the only person maintaining that is them. So if they decide not to maintain it anymore, you're SOL, right? So you work with people that practice that character And
Because they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Those companies know what they're doing. We worked with a photographer. We had an experience where we hired a photographer to document it. We had been working with photography, videography, and we decided to part ways because there was a total bait and switch. Total bait and switch. Oh, I didn't tell you that you needed it colorized and rendered and all of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'd like the videos that you just did, like all the videos that you've been doing. And I was going to use them for business. You know what I'm going to use them for. Oh, well, now that he's got it, right? Well, that would be $50,000. Like literally, he holds a $50,000 ransom over this stuff. And just a guy here in town.
Yeah.
And then laid some other things over it. Which were not cool. So we don't work with them anymore. But business owners don't realize that, right? Talked to a guy the other day. If you're Billy's Barbecue, hey, I want to start Billy's Barbecue. Go to GoDaddy.com. Billy'sBarbecue.com. Buy it. It's $8.47 or it's $9.12.
Yeah.
You should buy that.
Yep.
Or you don't own Billy's Barbecue.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then Google it, see if it's already there. Go to the Secretary of State, like just the basics. What are like 5 basics like that?
Yeah.
Buy the domain.
See
if the business exists.
Do some research, right? Like I literally just saw a company who's been around for 13 years change their name to a name that was almost identical to another company doing the same type of service in the same area. It's like you gotta pay attention, guys. Like if there's a Imprint Media, right, in Loveland, Colorado, why would I be Imprint Digital? That doesn't make any sense. You gotta pay attention to that kind of stuff.
How many domains do you own?
Probably 25 different domains.
When I used to drink a lot of whiskey, I would drink whiskey and buy domain names. I just have an idea. Because I have ideas at 4 a.m. because I send them to you sometimes. And I think we've got a couple hundred domains, but just have an idea. It's $10, buy it. And if that dies, just toss it. It's always good. You should own your own personal name, your own personal brand.
Yeah. Every business owner needs to have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to digital stuff because it's inevitable. It's the world we live in today. And if you don't, you're going to struggle a lot and you're going to have to put a lot of trust in people that do understand it. So we end up doing a lot of consulting with that kind of stuff because we'll either get a client come to us who's worked with somebody else that owns everything. And then we have to explain to them, hey, they own everything. We have to set it all up for you now, but we're going to do it under your accounts. Like you're going to own everything, but we have to reset all this stuff up. You lose all your data, you lose everything, right?
Assuming they want to even pass it to you.
Exactly.
Right? And give it to you.
Exactly. And so it's important for business owners to make sure that they're educating themselves on the digital world a little bit. And if you aren't willing, work with somebody that's willing to coach you up and give you the information in a honest way.
So the reality of it, based on my experience, and I think there's great companies out there, but the reality is there's a lot of people taking advantage of the lack of knowledge that just the business owners have, or just the knowledge they don't have.
Yeah.
So what are the 5 things to ask a digital marketing company? If you're a brand new baby business owner, you're in kindergarten, you're learning business, you're learning everything. You say digital, what website, what are the 5 questions that have to be check boxed? Yes, my company does this. And if not, you run a million miles away.
Yeah.
That are universal no matter what business you're in.
The first thing is, do I own all of my stuff, basically? And what I mean by stuff is when you're doing digital marketing, you have to set up a lot of different platforms, right? Google Analytics, Google Search Console, your Facebook pages, your Google My Business, all of these different platforms, right? Do I own those? That's one thing you always need to make sure. And Google Ads especially. So business owners, Google Ads. If you don't have access to your Google Ads account, you may not be aware of what's actually being spent and where your money's going.
Talk about that. Because if you pay $100 to a digital marketing company running your Google Ads, they don't give 100 of it to Google.
Exactly.
They take a piece of it.
They take a piece of it. Yeah.
A big piece of it.
They could. And so you got to be aware of that stuff. There's no, in my opinion, there's no reason to hide anything from anybody. Right? That's something that's just, in my opinion, common sense in a way, where if you have a friend, right, and you guys have a good relationship, do they hide things from you? Right. No. If they do, it's not a good friend. Same thing with business. If a business is hiding something from you, it's not a good business to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are things you want to ask about. I would also ask about, what's your availability for communication, right? There are a lot of companies that will limit their availability for communication. And you don't want to abuse somebody's communication, but you also shouldn't feel handcuffed to only be able to reach out and only have a certain amount of communication with somebody too. I think there's a balance, but if you're working with somebody, we just took on a new client recently who was always, he was maxed out to one meeting a month with the company they were working for. And it couldn't change. It was in the contract. You could only have one meeting a month.
Dude, we're talking every day. We're talking every day right now with Gentle Art of Leadership, with the Spain immersion experiences. We're talking every day with multiple members of your team. Mm-hmm. That's all I talk to right now is all your team.
Yeah, exactly. And that is some of the things that people. So like, if there's something urgent, right, or you want to do something new, or you have a question or something like that, it can wait till the next meeting. So ask those questions, ask what their experience is, right? Because another thing that I've seen in the digital marketing world, because of some of the stuff I talked about with like profitability, standardization, trying to figure out how you can overcome some of the plateaus that can happen in the industry, is people that have a ton of experience and who have earned raises and have put themselves in a position where they should be compensated well, they get cut. And they'll be replaced with some new person fresh out of school so that they don't have to pay them as much. And so now all of a sudden you just lost your ability to work with somebody that truly understands what they're doing. They know the industry like the back of their hand, and you have somebody coming in similar to if you were to hire an intern to do your digital marketing, right? The experience isn't going to be the same. So ask about that. We've purposefully tried to build our team around people that have a ton of experience. And we've sacrificed a lot to make that happen. But I don't believe that it's appropriate to charge somebody for that lack of experience.
Yeah, because they're charging top dollar and not bringing top experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a lot of that cycling. So you'll see one person, they build up, right? And they get to the top, and then they cap out. So they leave, and then they go start a digital marketing company, right? Like that's all they know. I work for the College Painters. They do a really great job creating lots of other painting companies all over the place. That's where most of the companies here in town came from. It was the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So do I own my stuff?
Yep.
How can I communicate? What's your experience? What are a couple other big things that you see?
How many accounts does your account manager, your marketing director, your marketing executive, whatever the term is, how many accounts do they manage? Because that's another thing that's happened in the industry is as companies saw a plateau in profitability, their way around that is do more. Just do more.
It's more revenue. Just bring in more money in the top.
Yeah, because one of the standards in business is you have to pay attention to your managed revenue per person on your team to understand how healthy you really are. And that's one of the solutions that's put in place is like you're going to manage 60, 70 plus accounts or businesses in our industry. And that's just not realistic. Like if you really do the math, like break down a 40-hour work week and you take that and you divide it out by 70 people, 70 different accounts, how much attention are you really going to be able to get?
So when you say managed revenue per person, are you talking about you take your total company revenue divided by the total number of people working on it? And that's a metric in your industry. So like at JiuJitsu, you talk about your dollar per student head count, right? So that's a metric.
Exactly.
Is there a healthy metric? Is there an industry standard, or is it just that there is one and needs to be one? Like, is there one that whatever it is, you're going to fail?
Yeah.
Because like in painting, we talk about gross margin. If I charge you $5,000 to paint your house, that's not what we made. We run at a 50% gross margin, which a lot of painters say, how do you do that?
Yeah.
We're struggling right now with the decline of that just because the costs are rising quicker than you can even reconcile the job you did 2 weeks ago. So we're looking at that right now. I mean, is there industry standards? Do you share those? I mean, whether you do or don't, are there that people should really go look for?
Yeah. The first benchmark you want to try to get to is 150,000 in yearly revenue per person.
So 10 people, you should be 1.5 million.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Exactly. And then it gets more healthy from there. I think that you're really, really trying to get to that 300K mark in software service industry. That is a benchmark that a lot of companies have a hard time getting to. But if you can get to that level, you're healthy. You're really, really healthy. You've created a very efficient business at that point.
Hey, just want to give a big shout out to one of our sponsors, Imprint Digital. If you're a small business owner, one of the things that you need to navigate to be successful is all things online and digital in terms of marketing and your messaging. Imprint Digital, they're the real deal. They are the professionals and they know this world inside and out. Make sure to visit their website at imprint-digital.com. If you're a Christian small business owner and you live in Northern Colorado, you have to check out one of our sponsors, the Foundry Advisory. The Foundry is a Christian executive peer advising group that connects other business owners in the community to help you focus on your faith, your life, your leadership, and your business. Make sure to check them out at thefoundryadvisory.com. Hey, if you're a business owner and you need to do some renovation in your space or possibly build a building from the ground up, you have to connect with one of our sponsors, Mendel Construction. Mendel Construction is a commercial construction company that's been around since 1997, serving all of Colorado. They can do a small tenant finish all the way up to ground up construction of a new building for your business. Check them out at mendelandcompany.com. That's MENDEL and company.com. A big shout out and thank you to one of our sponsors, M&D Painting and Roofing. M&D was actually founded by my wife Emily and I back in 2005. And for the last 2 decades, we've been here in Northern Colorado of one of the leaders in residential and commercial repainting, as well as most recently installing residential roofs. So if you need to paint, re-roof, you got hit by a hailstorm, we can take care of whatever your home needs from top to bottom. You can find us on the web at mandepainting.com. Love it. So you've got the numbers and the dollars and the cents, the X's and the O's. Any other big 5 questions? Because we did 4, then we talked about metrics. Any other big questions? Because I want to transfer to something else that I see that you guys do that a lot of other companies don't do.
Yeah. The other thing is where do you build your website? What platform do you guys use? Okay. And this goes back to the proprietary conversation. Is one thing that will happen is people will try to develop proprietary solutions in order to get people tied in, stuck, right? Oh, we built your website on our platform. You're stuck, right? They own it. Sometimes in a lot of those situations, like even Squarespace, good example of this, right? What happened is there was a huge surge with like Wix and Squarespace where they're like, we offer the easy, you can go in and drag and drop. If you've ever tried to migrate a website from one of those platforms, it's you have to do it completely manually. They don't give you that. They own it, right? That's why we always use the tried and true solutions, right? If you're a service business and your objective is leads, WordPress. If you do e-commerce, WooCommerce, which is a hybrid of WordPress, is a great solution. Shopify has got a great platform. BigCommerce is another one that we see. And those are more open source, right? And that's what you should really be thinking a lot about is, do I own this? Can I change? You don't want to get stuck.
Because it's easy. It's easy to build, right? If it's that easy to get in, how easy is it to get out?
Exactly.
I think just most businesses don't look that forward or look at the end game.
Yep.
So like, what's your end game exit plan?
Yeah.
Or have you thought about one?
Yeah.
Or the next step, right?
Yeah. Right now in kind of our initial plan when we started the business is Imprint is the non-exit. And the reason for that is we're trying to create a system And one of the components of the system is a marketing company. All businesses need marketing. If we have a marketing company in place, we can run everything through our own marketing company. So that's a hold. We want to hold that business. Yep. Yeah. So that's the thought process. What we are thinking about is efficiency, operations. How can we make the day-to-day easier? How can we put ourselves into a position where we hire the right people to be able to delegate tasks, but also decisions, so that we can be in a better position to zoom out and focus on the bigger picture of the business and other opportunities that could come with that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. One thing that you guys do really, really well, and I think this just stems from who you are as a person, because like you and I've gotten to hang out, and I shared my story with you. You read my book. You're like, I've never shared my story. And then you shared just your personal story, right? Because everybody's personal story comes into their business. And you guys have this amazing culture. Like, you're just a great stand-up Christian faith-based man, and you believe in things, and you take a stand, and you take care of people, and you put those people over profit regardless. But you're also not dumb and naive in that, to the fact that we need to make profit, right? Because I think some people can go too far one way. So I just look at all of your team. I've come out. We spent a half day together doing some leadership language stuff, and just an amazing team of amazing people. So, all of what we just talked about, the X's and the O's and the questions to ask, right, to a digital marketing company, right? But these are questions that you need to be able to answer to somebody coming to work with any company, right?
Yep.
But what are you doing culture-wise? Because that's intentional. Right?
Yeah.
That's no accident that everybody's really happy there. It's no accident that they're saying these things. It's no accident that you're building a little coffee bar in there to fuel your addiction.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do down there.
Yeah.
But why do you do that? How do you do that? Why is it important?
Yeah.
And what parts of your story do you want people to know that fuel that?
Yeah, it's cool that you asked that. So there's a lot of different things, but our team is the people that they are for a reason. Every single person that we've built our team around, I've had some sort of relationship with previously. And I recognized these people, and I saw something in these people that I really liked. And the biggest thing that it was trust, character, and hard work. I like people that I feel like I can trust, that have good character, and that are willing to work hard. And that brings something unique in their vision of how they view life and business to our team. And I have this conversation so much with all the individuals on our team. I talk very transparently about the business, the goals, the numbers, and everything as much as possible. But what I want people to understand is, if you have feedback, if you have an idea, if you have an opinion, you have something that you feel like is going to benefit the business, let me know about it, right? Because I can't do it alone. And you guys are all here for a reason. And if you guys have opinions, they're probably good ones. And if they aren't, we can kind of talk through maybe some of the details that are missing, or maybe something that you don't understand about the business and how that would fit in, or when will it fit in, right? And so that's a really big component, because I've always been a firm believer of trusting people. And that's why it was important to build a team around people I could trust, because I'm not going to sit there. I don't want to sit there and watch over every single thing you're doing all the time, every single detail, micromanage you, all that kind of stuff. I'm not interested in that. I want you to be able to show up and do your job and do great at it. And if we have to, discuss strategy, if there's coaching opportunity, you make a mistake, right? We can talk about it, but do your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you break down these three things, right, the trust, hard work, character, trust, you're going to run out of people that you know and have had a relationship with as your company grows, right? It's going to outgrow the people that you know and have that fundamental trust in. So great for you to say that you know everybody, right? Devil's advocate person listening. I don't know anybody. I just moved into a new market, starting a company. How do you find somebody that you can trust, and what do you look for, and how do you build that? Because I think there's an initial level of trust. We say this in the painting industry, that if a painter shows up to your house and he's not drunk, like he's literally sober, clean dressed and you don't think he's going to steal your wife's purse, there's a basic layer of like, this painter's not going to steal my wife's purse or steal one of my kids. Seriously. Like that's how low of a barrier to entry the painting industry is. And that's just a basic level. But then there's this, do I trust them if something goes bad? Are they really going to show the integrity that they say on their little poster, their little business card, or the values that they project? So how do you acquire that over time? And then what are some of the things that you've seen where because we were just talking about the red flag. We just let somebody go because I don't trust them. And nobody believed me, and I just didn't trust them. And Emily didn't trust them. And people that I know close don't trust him. And the team was like, no, he's not. No. And then cut the cord. Guess what? Guess what they see now? Whole lot of stuff. So how do you navigate through that? Because I've made mistakes of letting people be there that I don't trust, and it's never been good. What do you do when that happens? How quick do you cut it? Do you cut it?
I believe in kind of a 3 strikes you're out mentality. So there's a few things. One, what we've been able to do and build our team the way that it is right now, that creates a ripple effect because they know people, and then those people know people, and those people know people. So we've only had to hire one person from a job post so far. And luckily, it was the first interview I had. And I interviewed him, and I knew immediately that was the person. And so by building the team the way that we are, and I have this conversation with everybody all the time, is like, you guys all might be doing the work right now, but every single person here is here for a reason, and you're probably all going to manage people at one point in time. And if you know somebody that's good at this, or you know somebody that's good at this, those are people that we want to put in our pipeline for hiring. I don't want to have to do job posts to hire if I can avoid it. So we've already, like Chloe, for example, that was somebody that Caitlin knew. And
they're buds, those two, man.
Yeah.
They're like a walking pot of coffee. They're the awesomest. So Caitlin gets so excited and energized that she passes out.
We were
doing leadership language and we're talking about that emotionally intense, that high I, that limbic excited. And she was getting so excited, talking about how excited she gets and then passes out that she almost passed out. And they're buds. And they do all, I mean, they're on the they're popping on the videos every day, and I get to work with Chloe. So then you've taken, okay, you have this core group of people that you trust, you've had experience with, and now you're running out of them. So you're just layering and leveling into their core group of trust and just passing it down.
Exactly. Every time we're in a position where we need somebody, I'll reach out to, whoever I feel like probably has a good network in whatever that skill set is. Do you have anybody? Make a warm introduction. Let's get them on the phone. Let's do an interview. Let's see if I feel the same way you do about them. And that's something I hope to be able to incorporate as long as we can. Because, hiring, there's so many different variables that can go into a person. Luckily, I feel like I have a good pulse on people. But eventually I probably won't be the one doing the interview. So, we'll see how it plays out, but that's something that I really strategically tried to do. Yeah.
And then your process, because we were talking about process, and we have a process here that we got away from it, and then ended up not having great hires, people not getting started well. One of the things that we do that's really, really important is I don't care what your resume says. You're not going to give me a bad resume. Speaking up at Colorado State, we're going to build this amazing resume. And I'm like, well, it better be good. It's not going to be bad. And they asked me, well, Matt, what's your experience? What should I put on my resume? I said, I don't want to see your resume. My filter is come out for coffee. We have 3 open coffee bars a week. There's opportunities here. Come out for free coffee. And if I don't enjoy having coffee with you, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, I don't. So the resume doesn't matter. The job description doesn't matter. The first question that gets asked, if it's about, what do you pay me? What do I get? I don't continue that conversation. That's never worked out. One of the big things we do is Emily and I will sit down with the person we're hiring and their spouse once we get through that process. And it's should be a long, slow hiring process. And it's been great. I've heard the hire slow, fire fast. Have you ever hired too fast or fired too slow? Have you had to fire anybody yet?
Oh yeah,
what did
not
that look
with
like?
Imprint.
No.
Luckily, and but I have,
which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've definitely had some situations where fired too slow in the past. Yeah, and that's one of those things where usually whenever you do fire too slow, what I've noticed is the reaction you get when you fire somebody is usually more severe from the person that you fired too slow than if you fire fast. Right? If you fire fast, I feel like there's a better reaction. It's like, hey, didn't work out. I really appreciate your time. We're done here.
Yeah.
You know? But if you hold on to it, we had this one experience where I literally had to walk somebody out to the car because everybody was scared that he was going to react in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I walked him all the way out to his car, helped him back up his car, shook his hand, said, hey, but you could tell like when he first had his initial reaction to us firing him, it was like, everybody was like, are we going to be okay?
No, when I say firing too slow, not that the conversation goes slow,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm talking about like, in January, it ain't going to work out. And it's August, and you've allowed, whether it's incompetence, ineptitude, lack of trust, they're just not doing their job. Right. But somebody just wants to see the best, whatever that is, and you don't do it. Like, that's what I'm talking about, where you just let it drag out. So like in that case, was this person just a hothead, or was he already being a hothead? Did you know that was going to happen, or did that just come out of?
It kind of came out of left field.
Out of left field.
Yeah, it was kind of a production thing. Really just kind of seemed like he was just coasting for a long time. And we tried to coach him up. And I think we spent too much time and energy trying to get him to turn the corner and gave him too many chances. And that was what it was related to.
What's frustrating as a leader, or the business owners, it all comes down, like, they're hard decisions to make, right? It's somebody's family, it's somebody's life, but it's like, hey, it's also your team's family and life and profit that fuels their family and life. And when one person affects that, or they're riding your coattails or whatever it is, or they don't want more for themselves than you want for them, that's when it's all over.
Yep.
We had a long-time team member, and like, I wish this guy would want more for his life. He could have an amazing life, but he's a victim because the world happens to him. The same shit that happened to him happened to me.
Yeah.
Why is he sitting here where he's sitting right now, which is nowhere good, and we're sitting here, right? Because you came from some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, you shared with me. It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
The world happened for us. All of those experiences, same experiences. And I'm coming home to Emily. I'm gonna go do this for his birthday. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And she's like, Matt, stop, cut the cord. Yeah, but I see where he is, because that's where I was, and I want him to be where I am now.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to do the work.
Exactly.
Like, take the horse to water, and he drowns himself in it.
There's a lot of people like
that.
that.
Do that? You do that? Or is it just me? Because Emily
I
tells me
definitely
every
do.
day, she's like, cut this person, cut the cord.
Yeah. I just had this conversation, I think 2 weeks ago. We had a team meeting, and I was talking a little bit about my story with them. And one of the things I told everybody is, like, everybody has to understand that, like, the way I lead, I really see a little bit of myself in every single person that I ever come in contact with, whether it be my team, whether it be friends, whether it be business owners, whatever. And the reason I do that is because I feel as though if I was able to try to put in the work and figure out what direction I wanted to go and be willing to do that, then I should allow for everybody that type of environment too. And, I'll be there for you. I'll support you. I'll do everything. But at the end of the day, if you disrespect me, that's where it's at. That's it. That's it. And we were talking before we hopped on the podcast. Everybody's going to have a bad day. Everybody's going to go through life events, challenges, struggles, things like that. And I'll support you through that 100%. But if you have more bad days than good days, that to me becomes very disrespectful, because I am sacrificing myself in order to provide an opportunity for you. and I'm willing to work with you and I'm willing to help you. But if you're not willing to help me and help yourself, that's it. I can't teach somebody that, right? Like at the end of the day, you can't change somebody.
Yeah.
You can help them, but you can't change them. It's up to them. They have to make that decision to put in the work.
Well, and when you initially said like, don't disrespect me, my initial thought is that sounds kind of egotistical. Don't disrespect the boss, Matt, Alex. You know, it's not about that. It's like by you disrespecting the process and disrespecting what we're contributing to you, you're disrespecting yourself.
Exactly.
And it's this value exchange, because business, it's a two-way street. It's humans serving humans. There's a value exchange with money on a P&L. But everything that we do in life, it's a relationship. It's two stories coming together, and we invest in each other. And it's like, hey, if you don't have anything left in your cup, I talk about being selfish a lot. Like you need to be selfish and fill your cup and make sure that what you're pouring into others is not what you need, but it's an overflow from what you've built. And somebody that just wants to hang around and drink from your cup, and that's all that's going to fill them up, and they're not willing to do the hard work, they'd never work out here.
Yeah.
But it's a total disrespect of the whole process, the whole company, everything it stands for. So I'm just thinking, like, I don't think you meant it that way. It's like, it's not about us. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's, by you not doing this, you're taken away from the 25 families or however many people you have now, right?
Yeah.
That you're serving.
Yeah, you're disrespecting your whole team. Yeah. That everybody, because somebody has to pick up the slack, right? Take care of each other. Treat others how you want to be treated, right? Talk about that all the time too. The golden rule. We forget about it. We learn about it in kindergarten, but you wouldn't want people to do that to you, so don't do that to other people.
And then what's the platinum rule? I think there's even another layer of that, right? So the golden rule is treat others the way they would want to be treated.
Yep.
And I think the platinum rule is treat others the way you would want to be treated.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever heard that or seen that, but just this mutual exchange.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So here's a fun question, right? Because you and I get it. Any business owner, I think at this point that's had any kind of business experience, like we understand each other's daily plights because we're business owners. But what would you want team members? Like, what's one thing you wish team members should know about an entrepreneur? The things that we don't tell them, only the things we talk about. Like, so I've got a couple. I was just talking to Emily about this last night.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not in a, hey, you need to do this, but just something that maybe they don't understand or don't see that we keep between us. Yeah. That's real hard. And how does that make business better if and when you've shared that, and have you shared that?
Yeah. I try to be transparent, but also educate. And I literally just had a conversation yesterday with one of our team members about this, which is, I think that business education is extremely important for employees and entrepreneurs, because I think, you may agree with this too, but I think that in our culture today, we're seeing a lot of noise from employees that feel like they're not being taken care of and that they should get more, and that they shouldn't have to work as hard and those kinds of things, which there's definitely some situations where that's valid, right? If you're working for a bad business and a bad leader, and maybe the CEO is taking way too much profits based on the cash flow in the business. There's a lot of those scenarios, don't get me wrong. But I think that it's important to understand that there's a surface level, right? There's your kind of day-to-day. There's what you're getting compensated. There's your volume of work. But then there's this whole other business layer, right? P&Ls, right? Benefits. How much is that CEO really getting paid, right? That people don't probably think about very much. And I think that those conversations are important in business. And I think that education is important for your team is like, talk about those things so that they kind of understand, hey, like, you might feel like things are hard, or maybe you're not getting paid enough, or, something like that. But here's behind the scenes a little bit. So you understand.
You mean if you have 10 employees times 150 per employee, you're not bringing home 1.5 in your pocket?
Right.
Really? So when our painting business got to like 1.2 million, I don't know, we got to like 1.2 couple years in, and I had somebody go, oh, nice for you to make 1.2.
Yeah.
And I came home and I was like, Emily, I want to punch this guy.
Yeah.
And we printed up the P&L and I was like, here you go. Here. Here. It's this. No. It's this number here. Because I didn't pay myself. The bottom right-hand corner. Okay.
Yep.
Like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was talking about this the other day too. We were very fortunate to start a business with little to no capital. And we pride ourselves on that. Now, there's a other layer that people don't really realize. Before we started the business, I sold my house, moved. Pretty much, it was kind of a downgrade to free up cash. In my first year in the business, I made probably 25% of what I was used to making that whole year, right? 25%. Sold my house, moved everything, right? Like there's a lot more that goes there. It's like, people might see, okay, well, you are a homeowner and you have kids and you're married and you guys seem happy and everything, you got a truck and all this stuff. It's like, my truck's paid off. It's almost 10 years old.
Yep.
Right. My house was built 20 years ago, right? I had a brand new house that we had built. We built this house, sold it, moved, freed up cash, started a business, made less money than some of the people on my team made that year, right? There's other layers. And I think it's important to have those conversations so people know, like, I'm not over here on some king's throne. And
no, that's the reality of the numbers that a lot of people don't see. We finally we had to do an extension on our taxes from last year, and we just finally got it in. And we were just talking about numbers and talking about where the business is going, because that's also been Emily and I's last couple of years. We're pouring everything into this right here.
Yep.
We dropped a lot of money into where we're sitting right here, and I got the tax return back.
Yeah,
and just about everybody here at Sevilla Holdings made more money than we did last year.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to take that risk because I'm betting on myself. And I have more confidence in that than real estate, than anything else going on in the return on that investment. And we talk about this because we talk about these numbers, right?
Yeah.
Everything we got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people don't see that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Or like, hey, I need more help, or can we buy this? And and it's like, oh, hang on one second. There's more layers to this, there's levels to this game. And I think for business owners, it's very important, have those conversations, talk about those things. It's very easy to get sucked into the top line goal, revenue. And everybody's like, oh, this is our gross revenue. This is our gross revenue. We must be doing really, really good. And talk about the layers, talk about the details so that people understand that, like, as you grow, as most businesses do, there is more overhead. There is more stuff that comes with that. Your net always grows way slower than your gross.
Yeah.
Right. And net is important. If your business isn't making money, your business can't be in business. It will fail.
Yeah.
Right. So talk about that stuff.
Mike McCallowicks, he's a good friend of mine, and we're going through his program, Clockwork, within all the companies. It's all about organizational structure. And then he and I are working with our CFO on Profit First. So we just took one of the companies yesterday, and when it took it through the Profit First process. And he said, hey, you've got 5 different accounts, and wherever the business is at, you, as the owner, you take 1%. So whatever gets deposited on a frequency, whether it's weekly, monthly, you take 1%. You at least start taking 1%. And he said, if your business can't do that, then you shouldn't be in business. You should just stop what you're doing. And the goal is to obviously raise that up. But I think, I even just made the example, hey, here's what's left. Here's the leftovers. Profit always seems to be the leftover. So that's been a great book. That's really changed the perspective that you should take that first and plan for that. And if you're not making money, it's a hobby.
I actually learned about that just recently. That book, it was brought up in a group that I'm in. It's just like, this is fascinating. This seems like a really good way to go about it overall. So I really like that.
Yeah, all his books are great. He takes things that are very complicated and simplifies them. And a lot of the stuff pulls away from basic logic of business.
Yeah.
CPAs don't like it. He goes against generally accepted accounting principles.
Yep.
But he's run like 700,000 businesses through it. But it just comes down to human psychology and behavior.
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about, man? We've got a little bit left. We haven't really dug into your story much, but like, what else do you want to know? What else do you want people to know about you? We know about your company. We know about how you're doing what you're doing, why you're doing it, how to build a great team, like tons of value for business owners here. Like, what's one thing you want to leave with people, right, that are watching this, that are struggling, that just are stuck with something, their personal journey, their professional journey, their business, and they just don't think they can do it. Like, what do you want to close with?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, it kind of goes to what I wrote on my little card here. So I'll talk about that and I'll do just a quick little backstory on why that's my message is we all have choices, right? And there is so much noise in today's world with like social media and the constant just stream of consciousness of just everybody is just always talking and opinions and going and going and going. Simplify it a little bit. And the way I think about it is I was put into a situation where as kids, right, and in growing up, your heroes are typically your parents early on, right? And I was at an age, 12 years old, right about to go into puberty, where all of a sudden you're kind of going into this like journey of kid to adult. All of that was taken away from me, right? All my heroes, right? And then also on top of that, I was inserted into an environment when I moved to Canyon City where not only were my heroes taken away from me, but all my friends and everybody that I had relationships was also taken away from me. And the people that I was having to try to develop friendships with were not very kind. Not very kind. Not very accepting. Not very willing. And I was put into a situation where I started to get very confused and angry and frustrated. And there was a choice I had to make, which was either you keep complaining and getting frustrated and playing the victim, like you talked about, or you build your own house, right? And you think about all of the good in your heart that you once had before everything was taken away from you, and you try to reestablish that. And so we all have a choice each day. And my choice is try to leave things better than I found it, right? I can wake up each day and I can try to take a step forward. I can hang around and be depressed in my bed and do nothing at all. I could play a victim card, whatever it is. But each day is an opportunity for progress. Each day you have those choices. So leave things better than you found it. Keep moving forward. Don't go backwards. And that's easier said than done. We all go up and down. But keep showing up. Keep showing up. Try to create good as much as possible.
Love it, man. So we're going to close out. So you came into the building, right? We had some Cafe Sevilla coffee bar. You had cup 9, I had cup 4. And then you came up to our color wall right outside the studio here and you picked your card. And this wall we came up with, we have a painting company, so we had the little color scheme going on. But you picked your favorite color. Then you wrote down a statement that you want to leave with the world when you leave it. What is that statement?
That's the leave things better than you found it. Simplify your life. We can all sit here and think about all the different things that are going on in the world. Simplify it. My wife and I have this conversation a lot lately. What's the point? What's the point
Of all this?
of all this?
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I tell her, I said, just simplify it.
Love it.
Try to do good. Leave things better than you found it.
Alex Wells, that's a wrap.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Are you ready to make massive breakthroughs in your leadership, and do you want to do so in a really unique way? You should consider coming to Spain with me. April 27th to May 4th of 2024, I am hosting the Ultimate Immersion Experience in Spain. I'm taking a very small group of business owners and business leaders over to Spain for the fun, sun, food, culture, and cuisine of the country. But more importantly, we are going to be putting together some very intentionally crafted adventures, challenges, and experiences to massively push you out of your comfort zone and learn about your own leadership in a very unique way. Go to mattshoup.com, click on the Travel to Spain with Matt button, and check out the Ultimate Immersion Experience.